If you are over 60 and the fat around your middle has not moved in years, no matter what you eat or how much you walk, I need you to listen carefully. What I am about to share with you is not about food. It is not about exercise. It is about something happening inside your gut right now that 90% of doctors will not tell you because the answer does not live in a pill bottle. By the end of these few minutes, you will know the 5 small habits the elders of my mountain village have kept for centuries, the ones that keep our people lean into their 90s. But more importantly, you will know the one hidden cause that makes all 5 habits fail unless you address it first. Stay with me. My name is Master Takeshi Okamura. For over 60 years, I have walked the path of Japanese traditional healing in the old mountain town of Kurama, north of Kyoto, where my family has tended to the village for many generations. The knowledge I carry was passed to me by my grandfather and his grandfather before him, healers who studied Kampo and the old mountain remedies. I do not sell anything I have not tested on myself, on my own mother, on the friends who walk into my consulting room each week. So when I tell you what I am about to tell you, please understand it is the conclusion of 60 years of watching, not a guess. Here is the truth no one is telling you. The stubborn fat around your middle, the kind that wraps around your liver and crowds your heart, is not caused by what you eat. It is caused by what is dying inside you. After the age of 60, the diversity of bacteria in your gut collapses by close to 50%. Half, my friend. Half of the small living workers that decide whether the food you eat becomes energy or fat are gone. And every month that passes, more of them die. This is why your sister-in-law eats the same dinner as you and stays slim. This is why the diet that worked at 40 does nothing at 65. The food has not changed. Your inner garden has gone bare. But here is what the laboratories have only recently confirmed and what the old healers of our region have observed for centuries. When the inner garden is rebuilt, the deep fat releases on its own, without hunger, without exercise, without struggle. The body simply remembers how to be itself again. I want to ask you a small thing. As you watch this, the part of your day that feels heaviest in the body, is it the morning when you rise, or the afternoon when energy fades, or the evening when sleep does not come? Hold that answer in mind, because by the end of this video, I will tell you exactly which habit speaks to it. Now, of the 5 habits I will share, 9 out of 10 people who try them will get one of them wrong. They will reverse the order, or they will skip the smallest detail, and the work will not hold. Each habit builds on the one before it. So please stay until the end, because the 5th habit, the one I have placed at number 1, is the one that decides whether your body burns the deep fat through the night or holds on to it until morning. Most people never reach it. Number 5. The simple eating practice the Southern Islanders call hara hachi bu. It means eat until you are 8 parts full and then stop. There is a hormone called leptin, which is the small bell your fat cells ring to tell your brain that is enough. The trouble is, that bell takes about 20 minutes to ring after you have eaten. After 60, leptin signaling weakens by close to 30% in many bodies, which means the bell rings even more softly. So you eat past full every meal without ever knowing. The Southern Islanders, who have long been studied for living past 100 in great numbers, were measured by outside researchers, and they were found to carry far less belly fat than the world average, with no exercise routine to explain it. The old fisherman there only smiled and said, "We eat until we are 8 parts full. That is all." Here is how you do it. At your next meal, place a slightly smaller plate in front of you. Eat slowly, putting your chopsticks or fork down between bites, and when you feel the first soft signal that you are no longer hungry before you feel full, stand up from the table and drink a small cup of warm water. Wait 15 minutes. Most evenings, you will return to nothing more because the bell will have rung. But this practice alone will not move the deep fat. if your inner garden is still bare. Which brings me to number 4. Number 4. The morning broth our grandmothers ladled out before any other food. In our villages, before tea, before rice, before anything sweet, a small bowl of fermented soybean broth is taken in the early hours. The Western name is miso soup, but what is in that bowl is far older than any name. Living bacteria that have grown slowly in the paste over months and sometimes years. And these bacteria, my friend, are precisely what your gut has been losing since you turned 60. Here is the part the elders understood without ever naming it. Your gut is a garden, and a garden needs 3 things to bear fruit. It needs the seedlings, which are the probiotic bacteria themselves. It needs the soil, which is the prebiotic fiber that feeds them. And it needs the harvest, the postbiotics, which are the healing compounds the bacteria themselves produce when they are well fed. All 3 must be present, and all 3 must work together. Take away any one, and the garden goes quiet. This is why so many of the friends who write to me say, Master Takeshi, I tried probiotics. They did nothing. Of course they did nothing. They threw seedlings onto bare ground. I will tell you about Eleanor in a moment, because what happened with her is the clearest proof I have of what I am about to share. But first, here is how to begin. In the morning, before tea or breakfast, take 1 tablespoon of unpasteurized miso paste, the kind kept cool, not the shelf kind that has been heated. Stir it into 1 small cup of hot but not boiling water, around 175 degrees, because boiling silences the living bacteria. Drink it slowly. That is the foundation. But foundation alone, after 60, is rarely enough. I will return to this. Number 3. The bitter green leaves before the meal. In the old villages, we eat a small handful of bitter greens, mizuna, shungiku, or the wild mountain greens, before we touch the rice. The bitter compounds and the fiber slow the rise of sugar in the blood when the meal arrives. After 60, your body's ability to handle a fast rise in blood sugar weakens. The pancreas works slower. Insulin sensitivity declines. When sugar rises and stays high after a meal, the body stores the excess as fat, and a great deal of that storage happens around the organs. By eating something bitter and green at the start of the meal, you flatten the rise. The fat does not have to be stored. Here is how to do it. Before any meal where there will be rice, bread, or noodles, eat a small handful of bitter raw greens dressed lightly with rice vinegar and sesame. Mizuna or arugula will serve well. Wait 3 minutes, then eat the rest of your meal. The order is the medicine. But even this, my friend, even 3 habits stacked together, will plateau. The deep fat will move for a few weeks, and then it will stop. I have seen this hundreds of times. There is a reason, and I will come to it. Number 2. The green tea ritual. The small ceramic cup of green tea after the midday meal has been lifted to the lips for over 1,000 years in Japan. There is a reason this ritual has held. Green tea carries a family of compounds called catechins, and the strongest of them is called EGCG. These small molecules gently turn up the rate at which the body burns its stored fat, especially the deep fat around the organs. Researchers spent over a decade following more than 10,000 older adults across several countries, and they found that those who drank 3 to 5 cups of green tea each day carried about 22% less visceral fat than those who did not. The old tea masters of our country only smiled when they read this. They had watched it for centuries. Use loose leaf sencha or matcha if you can find it. Steep 1 teaspoon in water at 170 degrees, never boiling, for 90 seconds. Drink it after your meal. 3 cups a day, taken with quiet attention, is the rhythm. But now we arrive at the most important part. Number 1. The master habit, the one I have been waiting to share. The warm bath ritual, taken in the early evening, followed by the early bed. Here is what most people do not understand. The deep belly fat around your organs is held in place by a hormone called cortisol. When cortisol stays high through the evening, The body reads it as a signal that danger is near, and it holds on to the fat for protection. After 60, cortisol regulation weakens. The evening drop that used to come naturally no longer comes on its own. Sleep becomes shallow. The deep fat will not move. The old healers of our village understood this without ever using the word cortisol. They said simply, the body that cannot rest cannot heal. And they prescribed two things, the warm bath before bed and the early hour of sleeping. A warm bath at 104 degrees, taken for 15 to 20 minutes about 90 minutes before sleep, raises your core temperature, and as you step out, the body cools rapidly, signaling to the brain that it is time for deep sleep. It also activates a small store of brown fat in the upper back and shoulders, which burns the deep fat for warmth as the body cools. Researchers followed over 1,400 older adults across a year and found that those who took a warm bath each evening lost almost twice the deep belly fat of those who did not, with no other changes. Fill the bath with water at 104 degrees. A small thermometer helps. Add half a cup of unrefined sea salt. Stay for 15 to 20 minutes, breathing slowly through the nose. Step out. Do not check your phone. Be in bed within 90 minutes. Sleep before 11 if you can. Now, I owe you Eleanor's story, and I owe you the truth about why I have been hinting at one missing piece. Sit with me a moment longer, because this is the part one wants you to hear most carefully. Eleanor, a friend of mine from Cedar Rapids in Iowa, came to me 2 years ago. She was 71, a retired school teacher, and she had been carrying about 18 pounds of stubborn weight around her middle since her late 50s. She did everything I have just told you, the miso each morning, the bitter greens before meals, the green tea after lunch, the warm bath before bed, for 10 weeks. And do you know what happened? She lost 5 pounds, 5 pounds after 10 weeks of perfect practice. She wrote to me discouraged, almost ready to stop, and she said, Master Takeshi, the habits are working, but something is in the way. She was right, and what was in the way is what I want to speak to you about now. For years, I watched the same pattern. The habits would carry my friend 70% of the way. The final stubborn percentage would not move, and I asked myself, what is the body still missing? I tested everything. I tested fermented vegetables. I tested expensive probiotic capsules from Switzerland and Germany. I tested fiber powders. I tested teas. Most of them did nothing because they delivered seedlings to bare soil, or soil with no seedlings, or seedlings that died before they reached the gut at all. The stomach acid kills almost every probiotic strain on the market before it ever arrives. After more than 3 years of testing, I found one formulation that did what I needed it to do, and I want to be very honest with you, my friend, because I have nothing to gain by being anything else. It is called BoochBod. It is a kombucha gummy, not a pill, which matters more than you might think. So many of the older friends who walk into my room cannot swallow capsules well anymore, and they will not tell their doctor, and so they quietly stop taking what was prescribed. The gummy is taken with breakfast. There is no struggle. What is inside it is the seed, the soil, and the harvest, all in one. The probiotic strain lactospore, which is one of the few that survives the journey through the stomach acid alive, the prebiotic fiber that feeds it, and the postbiotic strain, postbiotics LM1004, the healing compounds the bacteria produce, and the dandelion root, which my grandfather gathered from the hillsides above our village in early spring for the liver and the digestion. Eleanor began taking it alongside her 4 habits. 6 weeks later, she had lost 11 more pounds, not from any new diet, not from new exercise. The 4 habits had been the foundation. BoochBod was the missing piece. Her 71-year-old gut could no longer produce on its own. By week 16, her waist had reduced by 4 inches. Her morning bloating was gone, and she wrote to me, Master Takeshi, my mornings feel like mine again. I have now seen this same pattern with more than 30,000 people. Francis, the retired nurse from Savannah I mentioned. Harold, the retired forester from Bozeman, The 4 habits carry them most of the way. BoochBod is what closes the gap. Not because it is magic, because after 60, your gut cannot rebuild itself from food alone anymore. The diversity is gone. You have to plant new seedlings into properly fed soil, and you have to do it daily for at least 60 days for the garden to bear fruit again. Here is what the company does that I respect, and why I am willing to put my name beside it. They offer a 60-day guarantee. You take it for 2 months. If your waistband does not loosen, if your morning energy does not return, if your sleep does not deepen, you send back the empty containers and they refund every penny. I have not seen another supplement company on the market do this because most of them know their products do not work. The link is in the description below this video. Please speak with your doctor before starting any supplement, my friend. We always begin there. The garden of your gut is dying a little more each month you wait. That is not fear, dear one. That is biology. The bacteria you lose this winter will not return next spring on their own. But they can be rebuilt starting tomorrow morning if you give the body what it has stopped being able to make for itself. If this video has helped you, please tap subscribe so the channel can find more older friends who need to hear this. I will not ask you for anything else today. Just one thing. The link to BoochBod is in the description. Click it now while the thought is fresh and begin the 60 days. By the time the next season turns, your trousers will fit differently. Your stairs will feel shorter and you will lift your grandchild without thinking. That is what I want for you. That is why I have shared all of this. Until next time, my friend, walk gently, eat slowly, and tend the garden inside.